how did you get it done with Nick Bosa and his agent?
Yeah.
Oh man, it was a journey for sure, and first of all, just elated to have Nick a part of Niners. I think he said Niner for life, and I love the sound of that. He's a tremendous young man, tremendous teammate, and what a player! Really a special player, and I think the answer to that is, special player like that is going to deserve a special contract, and at times they get complicated. And this was our first holdout, so I wasn't used to it. We've prided ourselves on getting guys in camp. We had a feeling that it might go this way, but still tried to do everything to avert that. It didn't happen, but I think the silver lining here, and I don't like making exceptions for players, but I will tell everybody that, you're talking about one of the most uniquely conditioned athletes that I've ever been around. I've been around for a long time in the NFL, and he keeps himself in tip-top shape, and even accelerated it this year, not being in camp. So the good news is he looks tremendous. We got him on the field yesterday. He kind of did some work to the side just to assess where he was at. We're able to get him in meetings and all, and then today he'll have what we think will be a full practice, and then we'll put a plan together as to how we're going to use him. But I'm ecstatic that we finally got there.
Yep.
So how big was the chasm? Who moved first? You guys or them?
I think it was collaborative. You wish it was moving faster, but there's a lot of things that go into that, and you're talking about a monumental deal. It made history, and so there were a lot of different variables to it, and we had to stay patient yet aggressive. Was there frustration? Sure, but that's all forgiven. And he's here. He signed this morning. Had a big hug and just told him how proud I was of him. He's earned it, and excited to have him back in the fold.
And it was just such a fascinating contract. And I guess we were all like, why was it going so long? Why was it going so long? Why was it going so long? Would you say it was more about the number, or was it more about some language?
No, the language probably the last 24 hours. You finish these things, and then it's like, okay, and everything gets leaked these days.
Yeah.
And I believe, I'm not throwing shade, but that whatever happened, that got leaked, and you still have to go through the language. And like I said, on a historic contract like this, there's going to be some parsing through all that. And so there was a little delay there at the end on that. But prior to that, it was just everything. It was, they were going to be thorough. We were going to be thorough. And it took longer than we're accustomed to, but it's done, and we're very happy that that's the case.
I guess, I don't know if this is pertinent, but the effect on 2024, what's your philosophy on how the effect it will have on 2024? That being, and I guess I'll give you options here. One being like, I'll worry about that later, or no, we're already thinking about that.
Well, we're focused on Pittsburgh right now. Right. That's where all our focus needs to be. But yes, in my job in Parag Marate, Brian Hampton, we always have to be worried about the overall health of our cap, of our cash, all those things. And that's not just a static thing where it's this year, this game. You have to take more of a holistic view, and so that's over time. And so, some of these conversions we've been doing are set up not just for this year, but for the next couple of years, and trying to put ourselves in the best situation. We've got a lot of highly paid players, a lot of tops at their position in the league, which means we got a lot of talented players. And one thing I'd be remiss to say, how thankful I am to the York family to continue to support us when, a lot of people, when they're fortunate enough to have this many good players, they have to cut ties with a lot of them. And we've been able to continue to try to make this thing work. And as a result, we got a really good team with an awesome opportunity. I will say, going against a very good, talented, well-coached, hungry team in the Pittsburgh Steelers. So it's going to be a big challenge.
Talk to John Lynch. We do it every Friday at this time. This one's special because they got Bosa done, and it was incredible that by the way, did somebody script his line on the tarmac? Because that's a line.
Pretty good line, John.
It's a legendary line.
Yes.
Sorry about the scare.
I'm going to get that on a T-shirt.
Yeah, you guys have had Nick on. You don't script Nick Bosa.
No.
There's that patient pause. I wish I were that cool, that much swag. I think his heartbeat never moves, and so he's got man. If I had that skill to sit there, digest the question, take your time, he just always seems to nail it, and so nothing scripted about that.
Oh man! And so, and kind of wrapping up the Bosa questions here, but you've said a couple of times in this interview, and I think most fans feel the same way, that once it's done, it's done. Everybody's happy. But is there a part of you that, because we know you're competitive and intense, so that's where you got to the Hall of Fame, but is there a part of you that had to shelve emotions in this one? Like sometimes there are brews, they say it's nothing personal, it's strictly business. Sometimes it does get personal. Was that a challenge for you?
I'd be lying if human nature doesn't kick in, and Nick's well represented by a very talented agent. He's tough, he's aggressive, and I would say that one day we were in here, and this is off that line of his agent, but a little shout out to Bob Myers, my good friend. There's one point we were at an impasse, and Bob called, and Prague happened to be in my office, and just had really good counsel on it. Sometimes you need some outside perspective, and I think it kind of kept us going. So there were so many people, and I don't want to undervalue the internal. So many people were working on this, but I don't know why I just popped out, but I'm very appreciative. You need friends when you're struggling, and from family, and I thought about that last night. Bob, at a time where we were pretty frustrated, called and had some really nice perspective.